What's up, y'all? This is a new game right here, which is called Legends of Talia, Arcadia. And this is a visual novel which was recommended by my good friend Pyro Hinton, which I'll leave his channel in the description down below. So I have not seen no gameplay, no nothing of this whatsoever. So I'm going in blind. I've already adjusted the settings, so let's get right into it. And now let me get my reader voice. Sometimes when I'm trying to get to sleep at night, I can still hear the screams. They're impossible to forget. If you've been in the village of Freycross that night, you wouldn't be able to forget them either. Then again, most of the people who were in Freycross that night died. I was one of the few lucky ones. Ooh. Alright, so let's see who the protagonist is. Oh, I guess it's more prologue. Alright, I wasn't supposed to be in Freycross in the first place. I wasn't born there. I didn't live there. I was just passing. I'd been wandering through the high roads as you do, and I needed a place to stay for the night. The good people at Freycross were more happy than to accommodate me. They practically showered me with invitations to stay in their homes, eat their food, and sleep in their beds. It was almost like my presence was some kind of great blessing. And then the horned dragon attacked, and the whole village was burned to the ground. It's a shame, really. Freycross wasn't an important place by any means. Most people in Talia probably haven't heard of it. I hadn't. But the people at Freycross were good, kind people. And then when I say that, I mean it. Truly. They spent their lives growing crops, rearing sheep, and fattening pigs up for the winter. Fattening pigs up for the winter? Whoa, so do they give the pigs a lot of food or something? I don't know. They had to be self-sufficient because there were no nearby villages or towns to trade with. They looked after each other. Most of them were illiterate apart from the village chief. It didn't matter. Being located in an out-of-the-way corner of the world, on the edge of an ill-traveled high road filled with monsters, they had learned to be strong and bold and self-sufficient. But they all fell over themselves when word spread that the great hero Arcadia of Little Haven, alright, that's an interesting name or title, had arrived at the gates of their village. Alright, a new voice right here. "Oh please, Lady Warrior," said the head of the village. "Make yourself at home. We are your humble servants." They were so excited by my unexpected arrival, they even threw a banquet in my honor. They roasted a whole pig on a spit. And that wasn't all. There were meat pies, boiled potatoes, and handmade soups. Oh wow, that sounds delicious. The food must have taken a long time to prepare, and I was grateful, but a simple meal of bread and cheese would have done just as well. There was music, laughter, and smallish children at Freycross asked very shyly for my autograph. Not that they'd be able to read it, of course. They just wanted something to remember me by. Okay, so does that mean the protagonist for this game is famous or something? That's what I'm gathering so far. I'm not sure why people make such a fuss about me. I never wanted to be a hero, unfortunately. My legend has traveled across every single corner of Talia. Everyone at Freycross that night knew me. Everybody loved me. They adored me. Was it because I fought in a lot of battles? Was it because of Kadath? I hope not. War is pointless, so is fighting. Those who glorify it, who venerate it, and raise mere warriors like myself to the status of saints, turn my stomach. Not that I think much about Talia's saints. It was hard to focus on my food that night, though the people at Freycross were being so very kind and sharing. What I knew were limited resources. They welcomed me with open arms, like I was their close friend. They thought if I was there, nothing would be able to harm them. They were wrong. The dragon killed almost everybody that night. Oh my, it ravaged the whole village. It burned the fields to the ground, cooked the fat right off the pigs, and engulfed all the houses in warm, red flames. The houses in Freycross were made of wood. Most people were asleep when the attack happened. They died in their beds. They died instantly. At least I hope they did. Whoa, okay, so the protagonist has a dark view of the world that they're in. Okay, interesting. A horned dragon's fire is strong enough to melt the flesh off a person's bones and turn the bones themselves to soot. If I myself had been lying in bed at the village chief's home, sleeping, perhaps I would have been burnt to a cinder too. Hero or not, I'm made of flesh and blood like any other mortal, and if exposed to a horned dragon's fire, I'd most definitely die. The small alterations the church did to my body back when I was a warrior priest who lived in Spinal would have been for naught. Though I can self-regenerate to a certain degree, there are limits. A horned dragon would definitely push my limits to the breaking point. If I had been caught up in this fire, I would have perished. But I didn't. That's because I wasn't anywhere near the fire when the dragon attacked. I wasn't even in Freycross. I left the village behind me. I was trying to escape. What I'm gathering here is that the protagonist maybe predicted that the dragon was going to attack, so they left. I mean, that's what I'm getting at so far from reading all of this, which is a lot of prologue. Now, you might be wondering why I was trying to flee in the night like a fugitive from the good people who had offered me so very much and asked for nothing in return. Nothing other than arm wrestling competitions and my autograph. So many of them wanted autographs, though I didn't know why. I'm not a skilled calligrapher. I spend most of my days gripping my sword. Still, it made them happy. And it was so skin off my nose, so I did it all the same. But here's the thing. Being revered as a hero for more than a decade can be rather draining, especially when you're not a hero. I don't think I am. I might be the great warrior Arcadia, scourge of the battlefield, champion of Kadath, the protector of Amaranth Village, but at the end of the day, I'm just a human. Wow, so the protagonist did a lot. Wow. The church meddled with my body during my stint as a warrior priest back when I believed that the church was good and right and just. But I still bleed when you cut me. Honest to goodness, I do though. The wounds will all close up unusually fast. I don't like being adored and revered and venerated. I don't deserve it. Not when my only real talent is killing. I worry my legend will eclipse who I really am. In fact, I think that's already happened. There are so many stories about me, some of them true and most of them not, that I can no longer disentangle the fact from fiction. I'm not allowed to be a normal person anymore. I've done too many great works in my short life. So I left. Maybe you can say I ran. People of Freycross loved me. They believed in me, and I let them down. Maybe if I hadn't left that night, I could have done something. Slain the dragon, perhaps? I don't know. I've never done it before. If I hadn't run away, then maybe. But it's useless thinking about what ifs now. What's done is done. By the time I saw the dragon, its scaly body embossed against the round, full moon, it was much too late. I turned back, ran to Freycross village, drew my sword. It didn't make any difference. Everything was on fire. Everything was ruins. Almost everybody was dead. The dragon was long gone, of course. It just happened to be passing. Maybe if it hadn't even meant to target the village of Freycross, it just reacted out of instinct. Dragons aren't as smart as people think. People at Freycross didn't need a warrior. Not even the great warrior Arcadia, with all her accomplishments and accolades. Sorry if I say that word wrong. They needed white mages, herbalists, and healers. Unfortunately, I never been very good with magic. The sword's just compensation, really. I walked through the burning village. The ruined buildings were depressing. The stench of burning flesh was even more so. Felt like I was standing in the middle of war, like I was back in Kadath. I stood there, surrounding my licking flames and black suit. The smell of death invaded my nostrils. I suppressed the urge to choke. Oh, okay, so is this the protagonist, or is this some NPC that lived in the village that survived? Alright, well, let's see right here. There, lying on the ground before me, was a girl. Oh, okay, so that answers the question. So this is just a random NPC that lived in the village, which is now burning because of the dragon. One of the girls who had asked me so eagerly for my autograph. She was still young, only 11 or 12, maybe 13 at a push. She was alive, but barely. She had breathed in a lot of smoke, and she was coughing, choking. She probably wouldn't last the night. The fabric of her tights had torn away in places. Why did they repeat away twice? What? Her legs were blackened and signed. The exposed fat was bubbling like a cauldron. She looked up at me. I looked down at her, making eye contact. The cold wind caught in my hair. The smell of dead bodies grew stronger and stronger. The girl opened her mouth, and then she said in a low, pained voice, "Why?" Alright, don't judge me because of that voice. Anyways, I didn't know what to say. I didn't have any answer to give. I could have said, "Sorry," but what use would that have done? So I didn't apologize. Instead, I looked down at the girl with her burnt legs and her tear-filled eyes, and I simply said, "That's how life is." And then I walked away. There was nothing I could have done. That's an important part of being a warrior. You have to know when to cut your losses. You have to know when to move on. So I did. I left Freycross village that night, and I never looked back. I stopped a medic on the road and told them about Freycross village. I asked them to help. Maybe they went back. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. I like to think I did all I could, but sometimes when I'm feeling sentimental, I do wonder. Maybe I could have said something a bit nicer to that girl. Something more comforting. She was only a child, really. But the world isn't a very nice place. Oh, look at that, I got an achievement. Wow, so the prologue is finished. Wow, it took almost the entire time of the video. Well, at least we'll finally finish with that, and now we could finally see background right here. It's midday and the sun is high in the sky. I walk, my head bent, trying to keep beneath the cover of the trees. Fortunately, in the vast and sprawling little oak forest, there are plenty of those. They're not all oak trees either. I'm no expert on the various flora and fauna in Talia. Ooh, actually, fun fact, I do have a character named Flora, and yes, I do write stories about my characters, even the character that you see as my profile picture and also on my channel, our banner thing. Alright, but anyways, back to this. But I lived in the countryside as a child, near a little oak, as a matter of fact, and my parents used to point out various trees to me when we went for walks. Sycamore, birch, ash, rosewood, they're all staples of my youth. I paused beneath a tree with a sturdy trunk and numerous dark green leaves. An ash tree, I think, and quite an old one, judging by the thickness of its bots. Bots? Hopefully I pronounced that word right. I need to take a break, wipe the sweat from my brow. It's a horribly warm day. Muggy, I think you call it. It doesn't help that there are bugs everywhere. They're horrible, buzzing things. Mosquitoes. Ugh, mosquitoes. Ugh. I can't stand them. Yeah, me neither. Unfortunately, they seem to be rather attracted to me, just like everything else in Talia. So, this is the protagonist right here. Wow, finally we be able to see the protagonist. Well, I mean, hopefully it is. I'm assuming that this is the protagonist. But we're gonna end it here. Yes, I know it's just mostly been reading and a bunch of prologue, but I mean, this is how the game starts. So if you want to see a part 2 to this right here, then this video has to reach 4 likes. If this video reaches 4 likes, then I'll do a part 2 to this. So anyways guys, that's gonna be all for today. If you enjoyed, make sure you smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. Also turn on notifications so you could get notified of new videos here on this channel. So anyways, peace.